Hey, what's up, guys? It has been a long time since I've made a video, or even a live or anything. It's been quite a while. Or as they used to say when I was a teenager. I don't know what they say nowadays. They say weird things nowadays, but when I was a teenager, say it's been an ill minute. I don't know if they still say that or not, but maybe. I don't know. Anyways, anywho, yeah. So, how's everybody doing? How's life treating you? How's everything going? Things are going pretty good for me. I know a lot of you have seen on my Facebook that we're getting a home, and I don't even know how to express how I feel about that. It's been almost 7 years since I've been trying to get my own place. I probably didn't try as hard as I could have. There were days that were harder than other days, and a lot of times I didn't want to do nothing. I just wanted to be left alone and just sit there. And a lot of times I tried and it didn't work, and it would get to me, and I would just be like, I don't care. I give up, whatever. And a thing I wanted to share with you guys, and I typed it out like 3 times on Facebook, and as I was typing it, it also would say error, and then the screen would refresh, and like I'd lose everything I put. And I had like a really long post. I was actually afraid a lot of people wouldn't read it because it was so long. So maybe that was God's way of saying, no, you need to talk it. Don't just type it, talk it, so people can see, how you feel or whatever. Like sometimes it's better to see somebody when they're talking, because you can tell by their facial expressions or their eyes or body movement or whatever it is. You're able to express what you're saying better than just reading it, because sometimes it can come out the wrong way or whatever when people read it. And I just wanted to share something with you guys, and hopefully it encourages you and helps you, or at least somebody. I feel like it's meant for somebody here. I don't know who. I don't know why or whatever, but I just wanted to share that. I'm trying to remember what I typed, but maybe I'm not supposed to remember what I typed. Maybe I should just let God speak through me instead of me trying to speak it. Sometimes I get in the way when I say things because I'm trying to make my point across, and my mind will go blank, and God's like, no, listen, this is what it's supposed to do. This is what I want you to say. So maybe that's what I'm supposed to do, and I'm not supposed to think yesterday what I wrote. So I will let God speak through me, and I will clear my mind, hopefully, which almost seems impossible sometimes because my mind runs so much. Even at night when I'm trying to sleep, sometimes it keeps me up. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, and my mind just thinks a lot. I met with my pastor recently, and I feel like I asked the weirdest questions because I will just come out and ask him things, and he's like, I never thought about that, but, and then he'll go on and help me understand what I'm thinking or what I'm going through or what I read or heard or whatever. I know one thing is I want to be just kind of brag on my church for a moment. I love my church. I know a lot of people hear the word church and they're just like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to do any of that. And I understand that. I really, truly do understand that. I had a rough past with different churches that I've been to. I've been treated as a black sheep. I've been ignored. I've been, some nightmares, But the thing is, I've learned that there's no church that's going to be perfect. There's not one church you're going to find where you literally agree everything they say. There's going to be something that's, I don't know how to explain it. There's no church that's perfect. We're all human beings. We're all going to fail. We're all going to error in some way. It's just that's part of being human, unfortunately. And I'm just thankful for my church. Like, there was a while I wasn't going to any, and I'm not saying you have to go to church. Like, you yourself can be church. You can have church in your car. Right now, we're kind of having church with me talking to you and playing worship music in the background and all that stuff. You can have church at your home. You can have church, and it doesn't have to be in a specific, come on, Chris, in a specific building, because the building doesn't matter. But I will tell you this, I'm thankful and truly blessed that I have found the church that I go to. I've never felt love and acceptance at any church like I do with this one. It's, sorry, I don't want my music to get too loud and then it gives me copyright things and goes over me. But anyway, sorry. But yeah, I've never felt love and acceptance at any church like I have at this one. I go to Faith Lighthouse Church. It's in Plant City, so if anybody's close enough, we welcome everybody and anybody, you know. Like Scripture says, come as you are, you know. God, Jesus loves you for who you are, as you are, and where you are. He doesn't wait for you to suddenly get better in life and be more prosperous or be at that peak of the dream that everybody claims, you know. He accepts you where you're at. He's right there, and he sees you for who you are. He sees through the mask. He sees through the frowns and smiles and everything that sometimes we put on just to mask how we really feel. Excuse me. And I just want people to know that, you know, you don't need to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all have our flaws, and if anybody's close enough to the church that I go to, you're more than welcome to come, and I promise you, you will feel accepted and loved at this church. Sometimes it just takes me by surprise of how amazing they are and how true and real they are, you know? Like, a lot of times you might go to a church and it just feels like that's it, just Sunday morning or Sunday night or Wednesday night, and that's it. You know, you just feel it while you're there. But at this church, I feel it throughout the week. I feel it every day. We all feel like we're connected and we're like a family, you know? I just want people to feel that, you know? I know that a lot of people feel like they've been cast out, or they've been judged harshly by other Christians, fellow believers and stuff. And yeah, that's big. That's big amongst Christians, unfortunately. And I wish it wasn't. Because if that's how we were supposed to be, Jesus would not have done or lived the way he did and still does. Because he's risen, you guys. He's still alive and well and working in all of us, you know? And it just makes me sad, and it tugs at my heart to hear people say harsh things about Christians because they were treated so badly, you know? Like, it seems like you have to believe everything that someone believes. If you have any difference, whether it be, I don't know whether it's the version of the Bible you read, King James Version versus the NIV or whatever, or maybe you're pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib, and people just fight over that. Or maybe you're not a believer at all, and you just encountered somebody who was a believer, and they just did not treat you with love, understanding, or compassion, or anything. They were quick to anger, and were harsh and judgmental to you. And that taints, that taints what Jesus wants you to see and what he wants you to feel, like, I just wish people could see and understand God the way I do. And maybe it's not for everybody. I know me, I I probably am not like most believers and most Christians because I'm very, I don't know. I don't know the word. Maybe I am like them. I don't know. But I just know that I have a very big heart with people. Even if they've done me wrong, or if I don't know them, or if they believe different, or maybe they don't believe at all, or whatever, I just still have a heart for them. You know, they're human beings. They feel, they bleed, they eat, they sleep, they do everything that we do, you know? They go through life every day, and they have to go through issues and stuff that they just don't understand or don't want to go through. There's bad things that happen that they just don't know, and maybe they're reaching out for somebody. They might reach out in anger, they might reach out in hurt, and they've been met with more pain and more hurt, you know? I know a big thing now is like political stuff, and it almost makes me upset, but I'm probably the least angry person you'd ever meet. It takes a lot to get me mad. Like, my own kids will tell you, and people that know me will tell you that it takes a lot to get me upset. But this is something that really tugs at me. I just wish people will just put aside those things and just look at each other for who they are, you know? Like, they're human, you know? Have some compassion for once, you know? Just understand, you know? Maybe they're hurting. Maybe they don't need you to shove God in their face and judge them and tell them, hey, you're evil, you're wrong for this, you're gonna go to hell, blah, 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 you shouldn't, blah, blah. No. I know there's times where you might have to confront somebody and be like, look, there's something going on in your life that I feel you need to change or you need to do. But at the same time, there's a time and a place for those things. And I don't believe if someone is hurting that you should do that and shove that into their face. I don't. I believe there's a time and a moment when you should act. Analyze the room and see what exactly can I do to help this person. Don't automatically elevate yourself over them and say, in your mind, you may not say it out loud, you may not even feel it, but it comes out as you think you're better than them. You think that you're holier than them. You think that because they're going through something that you're not, or they're doing something that you consider sinful and wrong, that you're better than them. That's how it comes out and across to them. And that's not going to help them. That's not going to lead them to a better life. You know, you need to understand and have compassion for people. Have love, real love. Don't just fake it. Don't just go, okay, I got to do this because God said so. The Bible says I have to do this, so I'm just going to just do this. But inside, you're like, you know what I mean? You can't do that. No, it doesn't work. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not doing this to cast judgment on anybody. A lot of times I post stuff and put things up because I'm teaching myself. I'm preaching to myself and reminding myself, you know? Because sometimes life can get hard and life can get tough to where you don't really think the best things you should be thinking, and it comes out the wrong way to other people around you. And I just want to encourage people to love one another, you know, to understand, to have compassion. Sorry, there's an ambulance and stuff going by. I don't know what's going on. There's an ambulance, fire truck. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I like to pray for the people that are going by. Sometimes I'm in a rush and I don't. So, for this one moment, bear with me 1 second, guys. I have to do this. I feel that too. So, Father God, I just pray that you be with them people what's going on with the ambulance fights. I don't know where they're going. I don't know the situation, but I pray you just guide them and be with them. Comfort whoever's going through whatever issues they're going through. Touch them and let them know that you're with them. Provide safety. Provide heads of protection around them. And guide the hands and the minds and the knowledge of the firefighters and the ambulance workers, EMTs, doctors, everything that's going to be involved. Be with them, Lord, and I pray that everything's going to be okay. In your holy name, and your will be done. Amen. Okay, sorry. Sometimes I really feel like to do that. Again, sometimes I don't, because I'm human. You know, sometimes we don't put that stuff first in our minds. But yeah, anywho. So, where was I? So yeah, I just wanted to encourage people to be loving and compassionate towards people. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're LGBTQ or whatever. I don't care if they're gothic, they're atheist, agnostic, Wiccan, whatever. It doesn't matter, guys. You should still treat them how you would want to be treated. You know? Don't judge them right away, guys. Don't even judge them at all. Don't. Please. If you meet them with love and compassion and true understanding, they will know. They will know something different about you. And if you keep in contact with them and keep showing the light, because we're supposed to be the light of Christ for everyone to see. We're supposed to love one another as ourselves, you know? And when they see that, they'll ask. They'll be curious to know, hey, how come you're going through this, but, you know, you're pretty happy. You're still joyful. You're still making jokes and dancing to music or whatever. Why aren't you just miserable? Like, what? How can you go through life like that? And then you might have the chance to plant that seed in them. You know? So, that was one thing I wanted to say. There's another thing I wanted to say. I just want to say that a lot of times, I know a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff right now. I know that things can seem crazy. I know that there's people who are hurting. There's people who are crying out or reaching out. Going through something or going through things they never thought they'd ever have to go through. I know it hurts. I know it hurts. I know there's a lot of worries and things to becoming anxious about and wonder, hey, where are you, God? You know, why is things going this way? Why do I have to experience these things? It's not fair. And you're right. Life is not fair. It's not fair at all. But God never promised it was going to be fair. God never promised that life was just going to be rainbows and cupcakes and unicorns and frolicking leprechauns through rainbows. And I don't know where that thought came from, so whatever. But anyway, He didn't promise all that, but He did promise that He would be there with you. And I truly believe that He is. I know for a fact that He's been working in my life, and I know He works in everybody else's life. Sometimes we're blind to it, though. Sometimes we don't want to see it because we're so focused on what's going on in front of us that we don't see God right there waving at us like, hey, I'm right here. I got you. I'm in control. You don't gotta worry. I'm one of the biggest worriers, probably. I worry a lot. I worry about everything and anything. Hold on 1 minute. I gotta put this air on. I'm getting hot. Sorry. If you hear air in the background, I'm very sorry. I'm getting hot right now. Anyway. So, yeah, I'm one of the biggest worriers, probably. I worry about things that aren't even happening to me. I run scenarios through my head, and incidents that may never happen, or maybe did happen in my past, and I'm just worried to happen again. I worry finances. Like, finances is a big worry of mine. Like, right now, I'm struggling because my food stamps. I haven't got my food stamps, and I know a lot of people don't like to talk about, assistance, like things they get help with, the food stamps and all that stuff. Sometimes we need help in life, and sometimes those things are there to help us when we truly need them. And it's okay. It's okay if you receive food stamps or cash assistance or whatever it is. It's okay. It's there to help you. You shouldn't be ashamed of using something when you need the help. Yes, there's many that take advantage of it and probably shouldn't be using it. But again, who am I to cast judgment on them? I don't know their life. I don't know what they're going through. But don't be ashamed if you have to use something, like, I need that help. So right now I'm going through a little incident where it fell behind. Like, it wasn't my fault. They told me that I did everything I was supposed to do, but they're backed up in the office, so I didn't get my food stamp this month. And most of the money that I had been saving towards moving, I've had to use towards it. And then that takes away the money that I would have put aside for like necessities like toiletries or deodorant or hygiene things or whatever. So I had to use a lot of my money that I had saved up. And it bothered me. It really bothered me. I was in Walmart yesterday after church, and I was happy. I'm usually a happy person, but I'm very good at hiding my feelings too, because that's what I've done for many years in my life. It's not a healthy thing, guys. I'm not saying that I was right, but it has become a norm for me to hide the way I feel, and it's harder for me to show emotions sometimes. But I just was going through Walmart, and I was humming and just smiling at people, whatever, or just minding my own business, getting things I needed to get. And the whole time in the back of my mind, I'm grabbing things in my cart that I needed, and I'm like, God, I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. I'm using a lot of the money I saved up. I don't know when my food stamp is gonna come back in. I don't know how I'm gonna afford my security deposits for the home. I don't know how I'm gonna afford the deposits for my utilities. I don't know how I'm gonna afford when I move in, like my utility bills and rent and all the other bills that I have to pay, and gas, and just all that stuff, normal things we have to worry about and do every day. And then it hit me. I don't know how to describe it, but it hit me like, almost like God was saying, do you remember the time that you were burned and I pulled you through it? And no, I don't remember that time. I don't remember any of that stuff. But I know God was, his hands were over me the entire time. For those of you who don't know, I was burned in a fire when I was almost 2 years old. Barely 2 years old. And 98% of my body is covered with third-degree burns or worse. Some down to the bone. I have missing limbs. I only have my left hand with these fingers, which, thank God. I thank God for what I have and what I'm able to do, because I know there's people out there who have been through what I've been through, and they don't have what I have, And then God, right after that, reminded me, remember when you got a really bad infection in your leg, and you were supposed to be dead, and you were dying? I was literally dying. My mom said I had like 100 and 300. I had a really high temperature, and the doctors did not know what was going on. There was this part of my knee that was turning gray. The skin looked terrible. The wound was terrible. It was warm. It was puffy. Like I said, I had a fever. I felt sick. And they didn't know what was going on. It was just getting worse and worse and worse. And they thought for sure I was going to die from that. But God worked through it. God had his hand. He was in control. And thankfully, I know there's so many people out now that are bashing vaccines and bashing science and bashing medical things. You know what? That's your thing. That's your prerogative. You have your right to believe whatever you want. Okay? I myself, I have no issues with any of that stuff because I am in fact a walking miracle, and I have had medicines experimented on me that they didn't know. They honestly didn't know what would happen, and it was experimented on me. And thankfully, God provided the knowledge to doctors and scientists to find a medicine that was able to combat what I had. And obviously I'm here, so it worked. But God uses people to fulfill his will. I know God is a great physician. I know if God wanted to, he could literally just reach down and heal somebody. I know that he can use people by touch to heal through his word, through prayer. But God also provided the knowledge and wisdom to doctors to do these things. One of Jesus's disciples, Luke, he was a doctor. He was a physician, a doctor. And if it was so wrong, why would Luke be it? Like, I don't have any issue, but we won't get into that. That's a whole another topic and a debate that I do not want to get into with anybody. But anyways, I was reminded by God about that. And after that, he was like, remember when you almost drowned in a pool? Because I can't swim. I have tried several times to swim. I don't know why I can't swim. Some people who are never victim, don't you ever say that, burn survivor, that have been through it, they can't swim either. And apparently, I didn't know this. I know it's not true for everybody, but sometimes, for me, I know most of my pores were melted shut. So a lot of, like when I sweat a ton. I mean, I sweat so much when I'm hot. I have to be careful because I can dehydrate like in an instant because I sweat so bad. Because most of my pores are shut. So the parts that is open, like under my neck, my armpit, some parts of my head, some other parts of my body, but not everywhere like everybody else can sweat. So the parts that can sweat have to work double, triple, whatever the amount to cool off my whole body. So I sweat a lot. But anyway, so your body can't regulate, I guess it's something to do with air that goes through the pores when you're swimming or in the water that helps you float. I don't know any of that. This is just a theory that I've heard from other people. But anyway, I can't swim. And I was in a pool one time, and I thought it was all that. And I thought, hey, I can do this. I can swim across this deep end, dude. I can do this easy. I can hold my breath, and I float in the water, but that's it. Like, obviously, you're going to hold your breath in the water, but, like, if I come up and take a breath and go back under, my body just starts sinking. So that's what I did. I started swimming across, and I went to take a breath, and when I went back under, I just started going down. I started to panic. I couldn't get up. I couldn't do nothing. And I thought, sure, I was going to drown. I was taking in huge breaths of water. And then somehow, some way, I don't know how. I still don't. I didn't see nothing. But I was literally in the middle of the pool, in the very deep end, underwater. And a few times I came up, and I was still, right there in the middle of the pool. And then finally, I came up, and I was at the edge of the pool. I was able to come up, I grabbed the edge, and pulled myself out. And then my mom was standing there, and she pulled me the rest of the way. And I don't know how I got there. I don't know. But God, I still think God did that. And God was in control. And then after that, God reminded me again, remember your car accident you were in? The one I was in a few years ago, about a year or two ago. And I really hurt my leg and dislocated and broke bones, and I couldn't walk for 6 months. And man, you would think that somebody who doesn't like to get out much would be okay with being, alright, I can't walk on my leg for 6 months straight. No weight at all. You think it'd be cool, but no. That was horrible, guys. That was so bad. I was so happy when they finally gave me the word that I could stand up, and even then, it took a while for me to be able to walk right, and I still am limping some, but nothing like it was before. Thank God. Thank God, truly. The accident could have been way worse. I slammed into a cement wall. Like, I was on the highway. And, you know, on the highway, you go like 65, 70 miles per hour. In Florida, it's 70. So I'm on the highway, and some guy literally just went right in front of me and just slammed on his brakes and stopped right in front of me. And it was raining. I didn't have enough time to, slow down before. He just, right there. And I hit the back of him, and my car spun, and it went into a ditch and slammed into a cement wall. All I got was a broken leg. Like, that should have been way worse. I could have been killed. I could have anything. But I literally, I didn't even know I had a broken leg. I was scared and shaken. But I don't know why, but I had a really big sense of peace. Like, I knew I was going to be fine. I knew I was going to be okay. But it's shock. Your body's like, whoa. I can remember when the ambulance people and EMTs and everybody else came and they opened my door and they told me, they asked me, are you okay? What's hurting? Well, I couldn't explain what was hurting because I really didn't feel anything. So I was like, well, I can't really feel my leg, but I can move it. Well, I couldn't really move it much, but it just felt it was weird. It felt like it was hanging from a piece of string or something. It was so weird. So they're like, okay, don't move, but we need to get you out. We need to get you ambulance. And I was so in shock. I wasn't even thinking. I literally just got out of the car and started walking to the ambulance. They're like, no, don't move. They're all freaking out and trying to hold me. And they picked me up on their shoulders and helped me over to the ambulance and everything. And come to find out, my left knee and leg bone was totally out of place. I knocked everything out of place. Unattached. It even chipped. A big piece of bone just was gone. They had to fill it in with cement and everything. It could have gone way worse. And that was a big wake-up call for me. That, a lot of times I was thinking, me surviving the fire and everything I've been through, that was it. God, I put him in a box, and I'm sorry, but we all got in a box, and he's bigger than anything we can even fathom. It's just awesome. I put him in a box and was like, I used my miracles. God's not gonna move big in my life again. He just did what he did, and I just, was on my own or whatever. Boy, was I wrong. I was so wrong. And I survived. I survived it. I went through horrible stuff. But I survived. Here I am. I'm able to walk and do things again. And I thank God for that. And then he reminded me of my home. The home I'm getting. I never, ever in my life thought I would live in a house. A house. I always thought I'd always be in an apartment or a trailer, which there's nothing wrong with those guys. There is nothing wrong with any of those. I'm not bashing any of them. I'm just saying my heart's desire was I wanted to live in a house of my own. I grew up in a house of my own, and I wanted my kids to experience it too. I never thought. I always would just tell people, people would be like, oh, we got a new home, we're moving in. I'd be like, wow, that's awesome, I'm so happy. But inside, I'm like, man, I will never get that. Never. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I lacked the faith that I needed. I'm sorry that I didn't trust God. I didn't believe how amazing and big God really is. How about to move into a 3-bedroom house? Sometimes it seems like it's too good to be true. Because like I said before, it's been almost 7 years. I've dragged my poor girls up and down the East Coast. In places they never knew anybody. Places they were confused, they were scared. And they didn't understand. But they knew. They knew that Dad was here. They knew that Dad was going to make everything okay. That's all I wanted for them. That's all I cared. Was I wanted my girls to be safe. I wanted my girls to be happy. And I felt like such a failure. I haven't had my own bed in almost 7 years. My own room. My poor girls haven't either. They've been tossed around, family members and friends. That's not the life I wanted my kids to have. You know, I wanted them to have the best of whatever they could do and have. I didn't want them to feel let down. I didn't want them to feel abandoned. I didn't want them to be scared, and I know many times they were scared. I can remember when my ex-wife left. I can remember her words. I can remember her telling me, I no longer love you. And all I could think about was my kids. I was terrified. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I thought that was it. I thought I had failed. My wife was leaving. I had failed being a husband. I had failed being a father. And I blamed myself so hard and beat myself up so bad. I used to be so incredibly negative that it was annoying, guys. I'm not saying that people out there who are that way are annoying. Just reach for help, please. It's not good to be negative all the time. Reach out, please. But man, guys, I used to be so mean to myself. I blamed my appearance of why my wife cheated and left. I blamed myself for that. I thought if only you weren't a monster. Like, I thought I was a monster, guys. For years. Even while I was married. I could not fathom why did my wife marry me? How could anybody be with someone like me? How could somebody love somebody or have children with somebody who looks like me? I'd avoid mirrors as much as possible so I wouldn't be reminded who I was. I'd literally curse myself. Literally curse myself and just despise my very being. I hated who I was. I hated even living. I hated even breathing. I hated the world and everything around me. But the one thing that I didn't hate, and the one thing that kept me going, was my daughters. I couldn't understand why they loved me. I couldn't understand how they can see through how I look and still want to hug me, still want to cuddle me, still want to kiss my cheek or my head or my hand. They still wanted to be with Daddy. And that kept me going, guys. I did some things I'm not proud of. I did some things that I should not have done. Since then, I've tried to find love in things that weren't. That wasn't love. I've been used and walked on with people because I didn't care. I just wanted to have somebody love me and have a companion again and wanted a family again. I miss having a family. I do. I no longer dwell on my ex-wife. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I no longer have an attraction to her like I used to. Like God had worked on my heart, because I thought for sure I would never find love again. I thought for sure there's no woman out there ever could love me like she did. She used to. But God showed me something of her and showed me who she really was, who she is. And I'm not bashing her. I'm not. I won't. I will not stoop down to that level and let the enemy get me angry and cold towards someone. She's a human being. She has a heart and feels too. Yes, she messed up. And yes, she's apologized to me several times, but she's happy how she is right now. And that's fine. I want her to be happy, even if that's without me. That's fine. I no longer feel like I have a connection with her or anything like that. Like, God has helped me through that. But at the same time, I'm not out there looking for it either. There have been many years, these past 7 years, that I wanted to find it, and I forced myself to find it, and thought I wasn't man enough or good enough unless I had a girlfriend, a spouse, or whatever. I had to. I thought that's what brings me joy. That's what would make me happy. That's what would make me feel complete. If I had someone with me, then everything would be alright. But that was wrong. That was the issue. Was I was putting that above something else that I shouldn't have. I put that above my kids. But most of all, I put that above God. I didn't surrender everything to God. I didn't say, okay, God, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I know you're in control. I know you will make this possible. I know you can do this. No. Chris was too good for that. Chris thought he was good enough to just be like, no, I can do this my own. I can handle this myself. I will make this work. Me, myself, Chris. No. I'm telling you, God will humble you. God will humble you. I was extremely suicidal. Extremely suicidal. I remember after my ex-wife left, I tried to hang myself with a belt. Thankfully, someone stopped me. I hid a knife under my pillow, hoping that night when I go to sleep, when everybody else is sleeping, I go to bed, no one would know. No one would be able to stop me. I can end the pain right now and it'd be done. Thankfully, someone found it and took it away from me. I did many other things because I just wanted it to end. I didn't want to exist no more. I did not want to exist no more. But God was there. God put people in my life. And I didn't realize it at the time. I did not. I didn't want to. I didn't want to have nothing to do with nobody. I didn't trust anybody. And I'll be honest, I still struggle today with trust issues. Not like then. People would say, hey, come get together with us, go for lunch or dinner, come to this church event, or come to my house and meet my family, and we can, talk to you and just fellowship with you, have fun, just uplift you, encourage you. And sometimes they would tell me, hey, you're doing this and you shouldn't. And it was out of love, but I took it the wrong way. I thought for sure the world hated me. I hated me. The world had to definitely hate me even more. I didn't fit the mold like everybody else. I wasn't good looking enough, or I wasn't athletic enough, or thin enough, or fit enough, or I didn't wear the right clothes, or I didn't listen to the right music, or I didn't believe the right way, or this and that, or whatever it was. I always had a thing set in my mind for why everybody hated me. And there was a time I was able to put on the mask and put on the act. Like, oh yeah, God's working. I love God. Praise Jesus, all that stuff. I was like, yeah. But deep down inside, I'd go home. I wouldn't read my Bible. I wouldn't listen to worship music. I wouldn't listen to hardly anything. I just stare at the wall and the ceiling and just dwell on everything and just be mad at me. Me. I know there's people out there that are struggling with suicide, with depression, with negative thoughts, with everything. Here goes the ambulance. That was before. I think that was the same one. I don't know, but it's coming from the direction it came. Well, hopefully it is. I hope they're okay. Be with them, Lord. Be with them. But anywho, yeah. I know there's people out there who are struggling. I know it's hard. I know that people have mental health problems, and I personally see nothing wrong with you getting help with mental health problems. I don't. I know there's a lot of people that are not into that will say, no, you just need God. You just need to get right with God. Maybe. But at the same time, I truly believe that some people have mental issues that need to be helped by a doctor or by something. Maybe just to talk. Maybe they do need to be treated for something. I think sometimes they over-treat things. Sometimes they go overboard with things and people get worse than they are. But I believe you do need to find help sometimes. And I see nothing wrong with that. And I can't stand when people bash people when they reach out for help. Please don't do that, guys. Please. I beg you, please don't do that. That doesn't help. That does not help. It doesn't. My heart aches for those who feel like that. Because I know people who have succeeded in suicide. People very close to me. And unfortunately, it's been more than one person that I know that has succeeded. know that pain. I know what it's like to be in that thick darkness, the pressure, the thing where it just dulls everything. Everything. You don't know how to feel. You can't feel happy no matter how hard you try, no matter how many times someone tells you to cheer up. You just can't. But I want to encourage you guys in those moments. And I know it's hard. I know it's very, very hard. I know you don't even want to do it. But I want to strongly encourage you. Take those moments. Go somewhere quiet. Just breathe slowly. Deep breath. And let it out slow. And if you can, put some worship music on. Or something on that just calms you down. Something that helps you. Don't put on something that's going to make you feel even worse. Don't. I've done that before too. Don't do that. Put something on that you know will uplift you and help you. I know everybody has different taste in music. I myself tend to sometimes lean more towards heavier music sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes. I know that's not for everybody. A lot of times I like to just listen to instrumental stuff. Maybe it's a movie soundtrack where it's just instruments. A lot of times I will put on worship songs. But I just encourage you to take a moment. If you can. If you can, it'd be even better if you can find somewhere to go that's outside. Near water, preferably. You can hear the water. Even if you can't get near water, just somewhere outside. Maybe it's too cold where you are, so I'd understand if you don't go somewhere outside. But I encourage you to take that moment and just listen. Listen to the music. Try to clear your mind. Try to just focus on positivity, on positive things that you can think of that bring you joy, make you happy. Maybe it's a loved one. Maybe it's a scent. Maybe it's something you've seen. Maybe it's a song. Maybe it's a memory of someone. But think of something that brings you joy. At least 3 to 5 things. And focus on those. And be thankful for those. Because you are blessed. We are blessed. Even when we're going through hard times and we don't see it, we are blessed. So blessed. There's people out there right now who are taking their last breath. There's people out there right now getting bad news. There's people out there going through something terrible. But around them, God's working. God's moving. And He is always in control. Always. Always. I just want you guys to be encouraged and know if God can move in my life and everything He's done for me, He will you too. And I'm sure He has many of you too. And we're human. We forget because we're so focused on what's going on right now in front of us. For in those moments, God's holding you, hugging you, telling you it's going to be okay. I got you. I'm in control. Let me. Just let me. Surrender it to me. Don't worry. I got you. He does, guys. I promise you, He does. He does. I I could be on here forever trying to list everything that God has blessed me with, and I'm so thankful of who I am. I'm thankful for the way I look. I'm grateful for the way I look. I'm thankful for what I have. I'm thankful for the things I don't have, because God knew that those were things I didn't need. They wouldn't help me. They'd only bring me down. Maybe it's people, maybe it's things that I wanted or had or thought I needed. And God was like, no. Nope. You don't. Scars are beautiful. Scars show what you have conquered. Only true warriors have scars. Only fighters have scars. Whether outside or inside. I know sometimes the inside scars can be worse because you can't show that and people don't see it and they don't know and they don't understand what you're going through and how you feel. But I also know the ones that you can see, that are physically there, can be a struggle too. Because other people don't understand. They think that that's a sign of weakness. That that's a sign of a lack of strength. When it is total opposite. Your scars are proof that your body healed. Your body conquered something that hindered you, that tried to stop you, that tried to displace you. And your body said, no, we are in control. God is in control. He put the very system inside of you that causes you to bleed, it causes your skin to heal, causes it to scab, or whatever, and scar. That's amazing. That is amazing and wonderful how God thought of that and put it into us. There are things in your body that I could go on forever that would just blow your mind of how God even thought of that to even put it into us. God is amazing. He's awesome, and he just I don't know how many times a day I'm reading something and my jaw just drops. I'm just left in awe of what God has done and doing. And for many, you know, I love space. I may be overly obsessed with space. But for me, that space is God's canvas of things he's just showing off. And showing, hey, check out what I can do. There's planets that literally rain diamonds. There's planets that literally rain iron. There's planets that are just full of water. There's planets that are just all ice. There's some planets that are just entirely gas. And God made that. He's doing that. The sun, dude. The sun and the way our solar system works, it's just amazing. And it's just, wow. Wow. The fact that God thinks of things that we may not have never even thought of, or even could fathom. Like, it takes 8 minutes for the sun to reach Earth. The light from the sun. 8 minutes. And the amount of energy that sun is putting out could literally wipe the face of the planet. Wipe it out. Like, if you look at Mercury and Mars, like Mercury especially, it's nothing on that thing because it's so close to the sun that it just, nothing can flourish on that planet. But, this is the cool thing. God thought of that too. Did you know there's microorganisms, like little creatures, living creatures, that live in the very volcanic fumes on this planet that flourish and live like it's no big deal. This is awesome. We love this here. We can't even touch that. It would destroy our skin, literally melt us. And there's living organisms that live in that. There's living organisms that live in the deepest parts of the frozen Arctic. Literally in ice so thick and so cold that if we were to sit in something like that, we would die. And there's living creatures that live in that. And they're fine. They're cool with it. And that just is amazing to me. Amazing. And the where Earth sits in our solar system is perfect. Perfect. It's not too close to the sun, and it's not too far from the sun. I read somewhere that if we were like, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's like a small amount. If we were even that tiny bit close to the sun, there'd be no life on Earth. Or if we were a little bit, tiny bit away from the sun, there would be no life on Earth. It'd be too cold or too hot. But God knew exactly, boop, right there. That's where Earth will sit, right there. That will be home to my humans, to the animals that are on this planet, the birds, the cats, dogs, giraffes, and rhinos, and elephants, and iguanas, and alligators, and crocodiles, and hippos, and I could go on naming all the animals and all the plant life, and it would not exist if we were anywhere closer or farther away from the sun. And then you look at Saturn. I believe it's Saturn. Could be wrong. I hope I'm not wrong because it's space, but I believe it's Saturn. Saturn literally catches asteroids and meteors and different things from space that if it wasn't there and if it didn't have the orbit that it has or the gravity of the mass of that planet to produce such gravity that it literally pulls all those into its rings and protects Earth. It protects us. It really does. And then we have, when you see the Northern Lights, some of you may know what that is, but for those of you who don't know, the Northern Lights is literally you're watching the sun's dangerous radiation rays bounce off of our atmosphere and protects us from it. How amazing is that? How amazing is our God to think about that? He knew every possible thing to put in just the right spot so life could flourish and become. So anyway, let's get back. I know I just went totally off tangent there. I left what my original thing was about Walmart and stuff. So I want to rewind. Let's go back. Okay, so as I was saying, Walmart, God reminded me all these things. And I felt bad. My head sank down, and I felt bad. But then immediately afterwards, I felt peace. I felt joy. I felt God say, I understand. I understand that although I've been in your life, and I'm still in your life, and I understand why you worry. I understand why sometimes you forget, and I understand why sometimes you don't see it. But I'm right here. I will make ways possible. I will open doors and close doors that need to be closed for you to provide for what you need, not what you want. Sometimes he does provide what you want. Like my heart's desire was to have a house, and God is blessing me with a house. I don't know how things will work. I know there's been people that stepped in and helped with things, and man, I am so thankful and grateful. So thankful. I feel like just saying thank you to people who are helping me with, whether it's financially or with items I need or whatever. I still worry. I need to stop worrying, but I still worry that something might happen when I don't have the money for something. But God was like, I understand. And I'm not here to make you feel bad, but I'm here to remind you I'm in control. I got you. And in that moment, I knew I just need to surrender to God. The things that are bothering me, the things that are worrying me, it doesn't do any good. I worry about it. That doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. It does nothing. Sometimes it can make it worse. It makes me sick. It makes my stomach upset. It's not good. And I should just focus on God and let Him control it. But again, I'm human. We mess up. We're not perfect. But I thank God that He reminded me. He humbled me. And one of my biggest things this year that I really wish and hope I can do is I want to be a light to people. I want to be encouragement. I want to be able to bring joy to people and show them real love. Not fake love. Not, okay, I have to, so I will. I feel for people. I feel when people are hurting, when people are sad. I feel that. A lot of times I have to fight tears because I'll be sitting here and I see people walk by and I don't know why. But I will get a strong sense of just sadness and hurt. Or I'll hear somebody tell somebody else, or I'll overhear, or people tell me or whatever what they're going through. Sometimes I just cry. And I feel the pain. And a lot of light that we're supposed to show of Christ, people have hidden. People have let it go dim. Some people have even put it out. There's a lot of lack of love these days. And that's what the world needs. It doesn't need to be reminded of what it's doing wrong. It doesn't need you to punish it. It doesn't need for you to just say whatever to it. It needs your love. It needs your compassion. It needs your understanding to know, dude, I'm going through this. I'm sorry, but I don't know how else to do this. And I'm sorry I may be mean. I'm sorry I may be so sad. I need help. And they may not even reach out. But it's our job to show the love to everybody. Everybody. Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. LGBTQ, black, white, whatever race they are, from another country. Muslim, Islam, Christian, Catholic, whatever you are. I love you. And we're supposed to love you. And I'm not doing it because God says, oh, you have to do it. I mean, a little part of that is I want to be obedient to God. I want to do what God wants us to do. I want to do God's will. Not mine anymore. I want God's will. But I truly and deeply can feel people. I don't know why. I don't understand it. But I have a huge heart of compassion for people, whether they've done me wrong or not. I still want to help people and show them love in the light of Christ. And I remember leaving Walmart yesterday. Cruising through Walmart. Yep, cruising. You heard me, right? In a wheelchair. Sometimes I have to use a wheelchair because my legs or whatever don't want to be nice to me. Sometimes they're painful and sometimes I have to use a wheelchair. So I'll cruise. I'm cool like that. But I remember leaving Walmart. I just prayed to God. I was like, God, I know you're there. I know you're helping me. I know you move in ways that I don't understand. And you're always working. I was like, but I just want to know. Because sometimes Sometimes we leave church, sometimes we almost feel alone. Because you go out in the world and you don't hear all the time, oh, God this, Jesus that, and all that stuff. And you just hear constant problems, over and over and over problems, or anger or whatever. I was like, God, just show me. I want to be encouraged. God has a way of doing things sometimes where you kind of don't want him to, but at the same time, it's awesome. What I mean is, when I left Walmart, I overheard these two guys talking. There was an older gentleman and a younger guy that I don't know how old he was. He may have been a late teenager, maybe early 20s or whatever. But I wasn't listening in. I wasn't trying to be nosy, but they were there. I was going past them, so I overheard the older gentleman say God, and I heard him say Jesus and praise God and some other thing, but I couldn't make it out because I do have slight hearing issues. If there's a lot of noise in the background, it's hard for me to hear something that I'm trying to focus on. I have some hearing loss, but I could hear certain words, and I was encouraged. I was very encouraged, and I was humbled big time. I got in my van, and they were already done talking. They had already left. And I put on the song. I had it playing when I first started the video, Holy Spirit. I can't remember who it's by. If you want to know it by, you can message me later, and I'll look it up for you and tell you. It's called Holy Spirit, and I put that on. Man. Sometimes music really hits me. I love music. I love music. But that moment, I don't know. I believe I felt the presence of God, the Holy Spirit. I began to tear up. I wasn't crying like profusely. I wasn't like bawling my eyes out, anything like that, but I had tears coming. I prayed for them. I prayed for those two gentlemen that were there. I prayed that younger guy was listening. I prayed that there was a seed planted. I prayed that I didn't know anything about them. I didn't know nothing about either one of them. I know who they were. But I prayed to God that boy listened, and that a seed was planted and he would think about what was told, or just pray that he would know God was real and God's presence would be amongst him. And I prayed for the older gentleman too. Pray God would comfort him with anything he's going through, because we're all going through something. But I also pray that God would bless him, because that man stepped out of a bubble, our comfort bubble. He stepped out and he talked to somebody about God. And it humbled me a lot, because I have really bad high anxiety around people. Like right now, if I was sitting in a room right now with everybody that's gonna watch this or watch it, whatever, I wouldn't be like this. It's so hard for me to talk. Sometimes I struggle with words to say. Sometimes I mumble and stutter or whatever, and I just get very scared. My anxiety just goes nuts when I'm around people. Sometimes I look really, I don't know how to describe it, but I don't look happy, but I really am. But it's just hard for me to express emotions sometimes. So a lot of times I don't get people that come up to me and talk to me. And one of my problems that I have that I want to work on is I don't go up to people and talk to them. I tend to just wait and let them come to me. And I shouldn't be that way. I don't believe I should go up to people and shove my beliefs down their throat and say, you have to believe this, you better believe this. I don't believe I should do that at all. But I do believe that I should be talking to people. I believe a big purpose in my life is to share stories about me, about my family, about friends, about even I love to write. I've written short stories that I'm not finished with, but even with those, I feel like I'm supposed to help and encourage people. Excuse me. And I'm not gonna be able to do that if I'm just hiding and I don't step out of my comfort zone and go to people. No one's gonna know. And a lot of people won't come up to you and talk to you because they don't want to offend you, or they think they're gonna offend you, or they just are scared or whatever. And so you have to be the one that reaches out and shows the love to them. So, I believe that's everything I wanted to share with you guys. I hope it helps. I hope it encourages. I'm not here to cast judgment on nobody, because I'm not perfect. I fail a lot. I fall. But the important thing is that I get back up and I try again and again. And I'm encouraging you guys, don't give up. Don't give up. There's a reason and a purpose you exist. Because if there wasn't, you wouldn't even be here. You wouldn't even exist. You would not have came about at all if there was not a reason and a purpose for you. Perhaps you're going through a hard time right now, but I'm telling you right now, it will get better. Just surrender it. Surrender it to God. It will get better. And when you get to that end of that, and you're through that, you can look back and be like, wow, thank you. Thank you, God. And then you can share with someone who's going through that maybe. Maybe your storm you're going through is something that someone else needs to hear. That needs that help. They needs to know that there's somebody else who has been through it, and there's hope. And there's someone who can relate to it. Like I said in a previous post, that when you go through hard times, we go through trials and storms and things that are just so hard, that beat us up or whatever, and wants to drag us down and bring us down. I'm always reminded of different things in what God has created, or things that we do, like take iron. Like I said in the previous post, iron has to be heated up so hot, and then beaten over and over, and then back into the heat, then come out and beaten again until it's formed into something. Formed into a mighty and powerful weapon, a sword, a staff, or whatever. Perhaps it's a beautiful decoration or structure or something that it needs to do. And it had to go through all of that terrible stuff to become what it is. Like a diamond. Diamond is so much pressure, so much torture it's going through for years and years, and it's just intense. It's horribly strong against it. And then when it's done, it comes out shining like a diamond. You know? And that's what you are. You are beautiful. You are amazing and wonderful. Exactly how you are. No one needs to change you. Nobody. The only thing that might need to be changed is if you're extremely negative. You gotta change that, guys. You got to. You got to. And I know from personal experience, if you just dwell and think the negative all the time, that's how your life will be. Your life will just constantly bring out negativity and failures after failures, because you just don't want to try. You're just like, why? It's not gonna matter. Gonna fail anyways, or whatever. And you think so bad about yourself. Dude, you're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And if someone comes up to you, I told someone this before, and maybe it can help somebody else. They were telling me that it was hard struggling because they have scars and they're mistreated, they're laughed at or mocked or whatever. And I told them, the people that hurt you are either one, hurting, or two, they don't understand. And automatically in defense mode, their brain thinks that they're better than you because they don't have that. They don't understand why you have it. And to them, it's a weakness. So they don't get it. So to make sure that they're better than you, to make sure that they feel better than you, they will make fun of you. They will make you feel less than them so they can elevate themselves above something they don't understand. And in those moments, I encourage you, don't lash out. Don't. That just makes things worse. Take that moment to tell your story. Take that moment to say, hey, okay, I get it, you're saying this stuff to me, but check this out. This is because of blah, blah, blah. And guess what? I'm here. I overcame something. Perhaps you've never been through that. But let me share a story with you. Sometimes, a lot of times, that will change the mind of someone. And they will look at you and look at life differently. Of course, just like everything else, there's gonna be people out there that won't listen. And they're gonna be mean and harsh. Unfortunately, there are people like that. But do not let them, please. I'm telling you, do not let them get to you. Do not let them think. Do not let them change the way you think and feel about yourself. Do not. I am guilty of that. I dwell on things that I've heard in my past, or heard presently, or think I'm gonna hear, more than I dwell on the positive things that people have told me. And it's a struggle. When you have a mental disorder like depression and anxiety, you can't explain sometimes. Sometimes, guys, just don't be so hard on someone who suffers with those, because sometimes they cannot explain how they feel. They don't know. They can't. I remember one time it really stuck out to me was I was hanging out with one of my best friends, like her brother. We were at Six Flags, and we were on a ride, and we were having fun. We were laughing and yelling, just having a great time, big old smiles, everything. And then the depression hit me. I don't know why. I don't know how. There was no reason for it. But that's how the mental issues work. Chemical imbalance, wiring your brain, whatever it is. It's real, guys. It's real. It is real. But he told me, because it didn't occur to me until later. He told me he felt bad and he was sorry for how I feel. He doesn't understand it because he never experienced stuff like that. But he said he saw it, and now he understood. He said in like a split second from laughing and having a great time, my face just went numb. I just stared off in the distance. And I can remember what I felt. I can remember that everything just got worries just in my head. And everything became dull, and I just, no matter how hard I fought, that I wanted to laugh, I wanted to enjoy where I was with my best friend, I couldn't. I could not. And I couldn't explain why. I couldn't explain how I was feeling, why I felt so depressed, why everything was just dull and just felt like I was being squeezed, and just the depression just gray and dark. I couldn't explain it. And I thank God I haven't been on medicine. I had when I was a teenager and it didn't help. But I thank God that He has helped me through this. And yes, it is something that I've had to talk to my doctors about. I've had to talk to people about, because that's what you need to do. God put other people in your life. We human beings have to have human interaction. We have to. Like a baby, when a baby's born, they have to feel the touch of a human being. They have to feel the warmth of their mother or a human being, or they will die. A baby will die if it doesn't have that. It's proven that happens. For human beings, we're made to connect and fellowship with one another. I know that's hard with the way people treat each other nowadays. That's our responsibility, to not do that to each other, to show the love and compassion we're supposed to show. And I thank God that I am nothing like I used to be. I no longer dwell on just the negative. I no longer curse myself. I no longer look at myself and just am disgusted or think I'm a monster. I love who I am. I think I'm beautiful. I think I'm pretty handsome. I do. And I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm not trying to be like, yeah, what's up? I'm better. No. That's the farthest thing from me. But I love who I am because this is what God intended. Yes, it was a horrible thing I went through. And yes, it probably wasn't from God. It was probably the work of the enemy. Or maybe it wasn't even work of the enemy. Sometimes things just happen in life. And we give way too much credit to the enemy. We're like, man, the enemy's getting me this time. Life just happens sometimes. Things happen in life that we don't understand. And the fire or something that I don't understand why. Maybe I may understand a little bit, but maybe not understand fully why I had to go through all of that. But part of me realizes that I had to go through that stuff to shape and mold me to who I am today. So I would understand what other people, when they're going through struggles, so I wouldn't just shrug it off. That I would be able to fathom and understand pain and traumas. I don't think I would be anything like I am today if the fire had never happened. I'm thankful. I'm really thankful that I am a survivor of something traumatic that should have killed me, and God had a different plan, an amazing and wonderful plan, and He has literally brought me in a full circle. The house I'm moving into is literally 2 houses down from where I was a baby and where the fire happened. I can see their backyard from my backyard. That just blows my mind. That people I tell this to, my own family and friends, they're just like, whoa, wait a minute, what? Wait a minute, no, what? It's just amazing. Like, God brought me a complete circle right back to where I started. I believe that there's something I'm supposed to do for people, and something I'm supposed to tell people and help people, because throughout my life, something has tried to stop me. Something has tried to end my life. And God was like, no. He's going to keep going. I'm going to let him go. I'm going to control it. I'm in control, and I will make sure that he is okay. And God has never let me down. There's been times where I thought he did, and I've been mad at him. I wanted nothing to do with him. I even tried to prove he wasn't real, and God flipped it around and was like, check this out, man. I tried to use science and space to disprove God. Nope. The more I dug into science and space, the more I saw God. The more I could see his thumbprint in everything. His artwork. I could see God. And I hope this helps you guys. I hope this encourages you guys. And I try to pray for people who come to me and say, hey, can you pray for this? Sometimes I forget because I'm human, but I will try my hardest to remember. Sometimes I just will pray to God and be like, God, I don't remember what this person said. I don't remember who it was. But God, I know they asked me to pray for them, and I just want to help them and lift them up to you, God. Help them. I know there's things I'm going through, and I know I probably have reasons to worry. Like, I'm about to move in a house by myself with my girls. I've never been in that situation. I've always been with somebody that could help split bills or help with something. And now, I'm not. I'm going to be the man of the house, And it scares me. It really scares me, because I'm just like, what if I forget this bill? Or what if I don't have enough for this, God? What am I supposed to do, God? Am I doing the right thing? I don't know, God. And every time, God's just like, I'm in control. Stop worrying. Give it to me. Give it to me. And I'm struggling with that. I do struggle with that. There are times where it's no issue, no problem at all. I'm like, God, you got this. I'm good. I can go about my day and don't even worry about it. And then there's days or moments during days where I'm just like, man, how am I gonna do this? I can't do this. There's actually been times where I wanted to just tell the people that I'm moving into the house with, I wanted to call them up and say, look, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I can't do this. Just forget it. I don't want to move there. And just forget it all and just say, hey, whatever, I'll buy a tent and live somewhere on the street or in the woods or whatever. Live in my van. It's big enough. But I can't do that. I am not going to be negative anymore. God brought this in my life for a reason and a purpose, and He didn't bring me here just to let me go and be like, well, whatever, figure it out. He's in control. He's in control. Somehow, some way, He will make everything work out if it's His will. And I believe this house is His will. I've listed before on a post of why I believe it is His will. But I believe this is something God provided. And I hope this helps. I'm sorry it's so long. I'm sorry if I babbled and paused. I'm sorry for the tears I had, but sometimes I'm a softie. I'm not like, I know a lot of times people are like, oh, men don't cry, toughen up, be strong, and yeah, I'm not like that. I'm very different, and I will cry when I feel like crying. I will cry when I get touched and feel touched by God or by someone's story or whatever. I cry when I watch TV shows and movies sometimes. I'm like, whatever. If Jesus can cry, I can cry. Jesus literally wept, dude. He cried so hard there was blood coming out. I've never cried that hard. I've cried very hard before, but not so hard that blood literally came out. And that's something I often will think back on, that Jesus knows, God knows how it feels to be scared, to be worried. He prayed to God that if this cup could be passed without Him having to do this, let it be. But He also said, like, God's will be done. And He did it anyways. He understands, guys. He understands. He's not always mad at you. God is so merciful. And He loves you more than you can even fathom. Sometimes it's hard, but He does. And with that, I want to encourage you and hope it helps you. And there's another ambulance. Father God, be with them. Be with the ambulance, the EMTs, firemen, and everything that's going on right now with wherever they're going, Lord. Guide them, protect them, and help whoever they're going to. And feel Your presence and just help them, Lord. Help them. In Your name. Amen. Guys, I just pray and hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. And I hope it helps. If not, it helps me to just talk it out anyways. God tugs at my heart sometimes, and sometimes I won't say anything because I'm too afraid or I'm going to hurt people's feelings. And that's something I always worry about is hurting people. I don't want to hurt people. So with that, I hope it helps you guys. And I love you all. You're amazing. You're wonderful. And God's in control. Right? Right. Alright, guys. You guys have an amazing, wonderful, awesome day. I pray God blesses you. He already is. I know He is. Just look at the littlest things around you. The wind, the air, the breath you breathe, the blood that flows through you. The sun has risen, and a new day is upon us. God has blessed you. It's all around us. The tiniest things we just need to acknowledge. Be well, friends.